I'm Aaron Sagers, and this is Talking Strange.
Aloha, spooky nerds, and welcome to Talking Strange, a paranormal pop culture show with the Den of Geek Network. I am your host, journalist, author, researcher of weird things, Aaron Sagers. You can also catch me as host of 28 Days Haunted on Netflix and the Travel Channel and Discovery Plus show Paranormal Caught on Camera. So today we have guest Harold Perrineau returning to the show. And Harold, first off, I'm super happy to have him back. He's just such a damn delightful person to talk to, and he has a great laugh, just so congenial person. And of course, as an actor, he became known for the show Oz, then as Mercutio in Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet. He was a Link in Matrix Reloaded and Revolutions. He also is remembered for his work on Sons of Anarchy and the Best Man franchise of movies, and then last year's TV series. And personally, I love his work on the canceled too soon show Constantine, and of course as Michael on Lost. Now, when we spoke to Harold last year, he was just wrapping up the first season of the MGM Plus series From. MGM Plus, formerly known as Epix, the streaming service. Now, airing Sundays, From unravels the mystery of a nightmarish town that traps everyone who enters. It's as its unwilling residents fight to keep a sense of normalcy and search for a way out, they must also survive the threats of the surrounding forest, including terrifying creatures that come out when the sun goes down. And yet there's more to this little mystery box. In season 2, hidden truths about the nature and origins of the town begin to emerge, even as life for its residents is plunged into chaos by the arrival of mysterious newcomers. And as it seems like there's more than just nocturnal monsters in the forest, but there's a larger force, a malevolent force at play. Now, Harold Perrineau leads the cast, the ensemble cast, as Boyd, the town's reluctant sheriff. Just as an aside, let me say that From is a really creepy and fun show. You really should not be sleeping on this. It's honestly surprising to me that it's not more well known. I think if this was on another network, it would probably be the thing that everybody's talking about. I understand MGM Plus doesn't necessarily have the same following as Netflix, but they are putting out a great show. It's mysterious, but there does seem to be a plan in place, which admittedly became a big frustration with Lost. And again, I'm a Lostie. I loved it, but it became a frustration. Now, and we talk about this in the interview with Harold. From has elements of science fiction, fantasy, and it's got a lot of horror. It doesn't hold back on the truly scary monsters. In fact, the whole dang series starts with this super scary and rule-breaking scene in season 1, and I was hooked from there. The cast is really solid. Harold just does a really strong job of leading this, and there's a lot of other performers in it that I hope to speak with soon because they're doing a great job on the show. So slight spoilers here. At the end of season 1, this isn't really revealing too much, but at the end of season 1, Boyd is on a quest to push beyond the forest filled with the nocturnal creatures, which are kind of like zombies, kind of like vampires, actually more like vampires, but we're not calling them vampires. He's attacked by spiders, Boyd is, a lot of spiders. He discovers this mysterious lighthouse. He gets pushed in this magical faraway tree, which is sort of this transporter tree, and ends the season trapped in some shaft, at the bottom of a shaft. It's very claustrophobic. Meanwhile, back in town, things have gone sideways just as a bus full of new strangers arrive at the diner at the center of town. Now, season 2 premiered on April 23rd, and it picked up the action with Boyd in the shaft, trying to get out, and he hears this voice of an old man above him who offers to help him if he'll return the favor somehow. What Boyd doesn't know is that he's been transported to a shaft in some creepy ass medieval looking dungeon with an ancient looking man chained to the wall. I didn't expect that. I didn't expect this. I mean, I guess it's like nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition, which is basically what this dungeon set seems to come from. But this is just such a quirky development on the show, in a cool way. And then back in town, the bus full of newcomers push back on their arrival into creepy ass Hellsville population them. They're just so reluctant to embrace it. Okay, so I am being somewhat vague, leaving out some parts, but that's all the setup. Let's get to it. Here, he plays Boyd, the Sheriff Boyd, on From, and we know and love him from Lost, Harold Perrineau.
Hey, Aaron, how are you, sir?
Hey, Harold, good to see you again, man.
You too, brother.
How's life been for you, buddy?
Hey, man, it's been a very interesting and exciting year. I mean, I guess like if you put the year together like a school year, not like, it's like how you put a school year together. It's like two different years. And so it's been really exciting. A lot of cool stuff. And From being one of the, coolest things that's about to happen, on TV for me. It's been an interesting, fun year, man. How about you?
I'm great, man. And, I was excited. I guess I talked to you with the leading up to the season finale of From season 1.
Got it.
And, we chatted a lot about this show. And at that time, it looked good, like you were getting a second season, but you never quite know. And then we have that cliffhanger.
Right.
But heading into the second season of a show, especially when you're at the top of the call sheet, is there more confidence or more pressure for you?
Wow, interesting. I don't think it's interesting. It doesn't ever really feel like pressure because I feel really lucky. Like I feel like, oh snap, I get to do this. Bring it. Let's go. And so that part of it, like we got another season. It always feels like really fortunate. So it doesn't feel like pressure. But what was the other? Does it feel like pressure or
more confidence?
I think more confidence. Yeah, I think we kind of know that we have a really great show. We know that we have an audience that really, really digs the show. We trusted the writer and the production team before, but now we really lean on everybody and trust. Like season 2 is so good, so fast and so crazy, and completely different. It's the same show, but completely different than the first season. And so the confidence that, we actually have a great little show and a great team behind us, and that we're confident that when you come, you'll really enjoy it. If you don't, it's just not your thing, but most people are going to enjoy it. Those things are really, 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 really exciting to be part of. More than it feels like pressure ever.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we spoke before about making comparisons to Lost, and I think it's natural. But you also spoke about the need heading into the show to have a plan and an end game, and you said From has that. Now,
yes.
Do you going into this season? Are you rewarding viewers with that? Are you saying look, we're giving you payoffs here?
We're going into the second season, and we're going to tell you how the show ends. Not at all. No. So look, it's gonna answer some questions. It really, really is, and that's really true. It's gonna answer some questions. The unfortunate thing is we want you to stay on for the ride, so it's gonna pose many, many more. The questions are just gonna shift a little in another direction, and it's gonna shift quickly. And so while I still feel really confident that John has a real ending, that he really, really does, I feel also confident that you're going to enjoy the ride until we get there. And even though there's going to be more questions, you won't feel overly frustrated. You'll feel frustrated. You'll be like, what is going on here? Like we feel in the cast. You'll feel like, I really wish I knew what was going on here, but you're having so much fun getting there that you're gonna hang out. I hope we have many, many more seasons because I want to know what that ending is. I personally want to know what John wrote for the ending. He's so good. I want to know how we get there.
And when you say it's going to completely shift, you're talking about when it becomes a musical comedy show midway through the season, right?
Bro, did you see the whole season? No.
Was I not supposed to spoil that?
You weren't supposed to. Oh, thanks a lot, Aaron. There you go.
Well, I mean, assuming I think we can say Boyd is not going to be stuck in a hole for the entire season. How did you kind of think about Boyd's arc this season?
I mean, I wish I was interesting enough to be stuck in a hole for a season. I'm just not that kind of show. The being stuck in that hole really is when I said it shifts things. And if you just think about it, it makes sense. Boyd really, while he didn't know where they were or how to get out of there, he felt confident that he could get out of there. He'd been in enough crappy situations before that he figured, like, I just got to think my way through, methodically get there. I may have to make some shifts or whatever that is, but I can do this. But once you get pushed into a tree that sends you into some kind of cocoon, like, once that happens, like, now we don't know where we are. Now we don't, like, we have no point of reference in our brain for how to even deal with this. And that's what happens to Boyd. The shift from that kind of confidence that he had, it's gone. Because now nothing makes sense. If he thought it didn't make sense before, it's just gotten worse. Like, from direct experience, like, how did that thing just happen? And then things keep happening again and again. You have questions about every little thing that happens from the time he's down in that well. Everything that happens after that is just like, I don't understand. And neither does he.
You know, the thing with these mystery box kind of shows, which is, it's good for drama, but it's also frustrating and anxiety inducing, because so much could be cleared up if characters were just to speak to one another and be like, hey, what happened to you? This happened to me. That's crazy. Like, there's a portal over here. And I'm just like, you personally, would you be the guy that would be like, all right, I'm going to lay this all out for you all so we know what's happening so we can compare notes? Or do you think, are you more of the guy that's going to hide his zombie bite, from the rest of the survivors?
Well, I'm going to tell you something. I think John must have thought about that, right? John, all right, must have thought about, like, why don't they just all talk to each other? And what you'll see in season 2 is it's happening. It's so immediate and so fast. You literally don't have time to talk to the other characters. Like, this, as soon as one thing happens, another thing is happening. And so you just don't have time to catch up because you're all kind of going on these sort of different journeys. And that's the thing that's set up a lot in season 2. There are a number of different journeys. Like, last year we saw Jade doing a thing and Jim tried to build a thing, but they were all kind of connected, right?
Mm-hmm.
Boyd's was a little bit of a secret because he was going out there with Sarah and nobody knew that. But they all knew he was going. This time, by the time when he gets back, and that might be a spoiler alert, when he gets back, there's just zero time to talk to anybody because it just keeps happening new. Something new keeps, it's really great and it's really crazy. But I think that's the answer to that, like because you do feel that frustration. You're like, just tell Tabitha that this is what happened to you, yeah. But you don't have the chance because Tabitha is off on some other thing that she's got to get out of. So it's really cool. I'm not gonna.
And we were sent the first 5 episodes, and I'm not going to lean too heavily into those. Just I'm going to avoid spoilers, but it's not a spoiler to reveal that the bus showed up at the end of the last season, and there are people on that bus. We pick up right away with that. When you have a show that's heading into its 2nd season or 3rd season or whatever, introducing new characters is good. It shakes things up, but it's also a little bit tricky because you're messing with the established dynamics. Would you say that Boyd's interactions with these new characters, does it contribute a lot? Do these characters contribute a lot to this season?
They contribute like a whole lot. They contribute greatly. And I think in terms of Boyd, the biggest contributing factor is Boyd himself. Boyd meeting the Boyd he the boy in the predicament he finds himself in, the boy with no answers. And so while he's still trying to be the sheriff, while he's still trying to be the guy who's in control and he can fix this, he really is sussing out that he really can't. And so then the new characters just serve to make it all even more dynamic and tricky, because, you know, how are they going to trust him when apparently he doesn't even trust himself? And you can see it. It's written all over him. Mm-hmm. And so I think, you know, him not being who he has always been in front of people who he's never met makes it really a real different playing field.
You've played so many different types of characters, and we've seen within genre these. I think it's fair to say within genre we see a lot of these either chosen one messianic characters, or maybe it's all, I guess, Joseph Campbell, hero's journey and all that. But are you more attracted to the guy that's going to save the day, the chosen one, or the guy that might tear it all down? As an actor, which are you more attracted to? And with that said, even though Boyd is a good guy, you could also see him playing the tear it all down guy.
Right. I'm going to say, like, you know, it's flashier and fun to play the guy who tears it all down. Like, it's really flashy and fun. But the more real I play those characters, the more I lose hope in humanity. This sounds crazy, because I'm like, wait, if I could do that, then anybody can. And so I really am attracted to the people who try to build it up, because it gives me the audacity of hope in my own life. Do you know what I mean? Which is really crazy to say, like, oh, these characters, these, you know, fictional characters, that they can provide some kind of hope in your real life. And so, but they do for me, you know what I mean? And so at the end of the day, I really like playing those guys who can fix things, because we're already in a kind of messy situation just in the world. There's great things in the world, but it's kind of messy. So you like to believe that there's a possibility for something to be better. But the other ones are a lot of fun to play, because you start really considering, like, well, what if there is nothing else? What if there is my point of view? And so you can then come up with lots of crazy ideas or reasons why you're doing whatever the horrible things are that you're doing. So, I hope that.
I mean, the reason I know Boyd isn't going to be the guy that tears it all down ultimately is that the villain, if he went full villain, he would have better wardrobe and be more coiffed. Like, you know, he'd better clothes.
Because you got to be stylish when you tear shit down.
Yeah. As we wrap things up, we don't know exactly. It's what we've seen so far. The world is being built. Its levels are being unlocked within From. So we don't know what these monsters are. We get to see more of a look at these monsters and other nefarious forces. And I'm thinking, like, okay, I don't know if it's a ghost. I don't know if they're vampires or zombies or nefarious human puppet masters. But you personally, Harold, like, what kind of triggers a little bit of a freak out thought process when you're experiencing elements in the show? Is it like that idea of like a ghost that might freak you out, a vampire, a zombie, demons, or nefarious kind of evil humans? What's the stuff that freaks you out?
The stuff that freaks me out are, look, we can talk about ghosts and zombies and all that other stuff, but the stuff that freaks me, Harold, out is the nefarious human beings part. I tell people all the time, I grew up in Brooklyn. There are a lot of nefarious people, but I really get it. I know, like, sort of where they come from. I kind of see it. I'm a city kid. I understand it. I really do. But you put me in the suburbs or in the country town, I'm really a little nervous. And there are aspects of what some of these things look like that actually trigger my own, like, hey, what the hell's going on here? Could this turn into some really, really terrible shit for me? Like the human aspect of it is the thing that really, really scares me the most. Because you realize that people can be way more monsters than the monsters that we create in our mind. And so, especially in these small little towns where nobody's watching, and so that scares me. That scares me personally a lot. So.
I hear you. You're preaching to the choir. Harold, I know we're out of time, my friend. It's so good to see you, and congratulations on the next season of this, From, and just everything else that's going on with you. Just congrats, buddy, and I hope to talk to you again soon.
Hey, my friend, it's always good to talk to you, Aaron, and I look forward to it again. You're always a great guy to talk to.
And that was Harold Perrineau, who stars on the series From, now in its second season, airing new episodes on the MGM Plus streaming service every Sunday. And in case you didn't know, MGM Plus was formerly known as Epix. Again, do not sleep on this series. Do check it out. It's a lot of fun, and it really scratches that horror mystery vibe with fantasy elements in it too. Just really there, this whole quest element. And this has been Talking Strange. If you have stories you'd like to share, hey, I want to hear from them. Send it to Strange and Unusual Stories, as weird as it gets. Send it to talkingstrange@denofgeek.com. That's talkingstrange@denofgeek.com. I'm Aaron Sagers, and until next time, be kind, stay spooky, and keep it weird.